Listen, a NASDAQ listed company just dropped $100 million worth of XRP into Flare's brand new yield engine. And the CEO of Flare says that's only the starting bid. Exchanges are scrambling to add opt-in XRP staking. Firelight is promising revenue-backed yield without inflation gains, and SparkDEX is morphing into a full DeFi power layer. Today, we'll unpack why this single allocation could flip XRP from dead capital to the most productive asset in crypto. How XLM, Cardano, and even Doge might be next, and what it all means for your bags. Let's get into it. Look, this was inspired by a post or from a post from freaking Flare Networks. Very, very, very interesting. And it was a recap of the community call that just happened a couple of days ago. And I put the link in the live stream chats. If you want to check maybe the replay, maybe you can snatch it from there, or just go to Flare Networks and grab the recording. It's important that you do your due diligence and continue to know what it is that you hold. All right, fam. Listen, this is your XRP, Ripple, and Flare news. And around 0 to 10 minutes. So let's get into it. Flare community call recap for July 2025. What XRPFi means for institutions, exchange adoption, and the future of capital efficiency on Flare. Why this call mattered. This wasn't just a monthly update. It was a signal. A signal that the Flare ecosystem is entering a new phase. Institutional capital is here and growing. Exchange demands for XRP yield is following. Flare is scaling to serve more than just XRP. I think some people are just not quite understanding that. They're not quite getting it. What's really, really going on here. Remember, Flare Networks is a next level EVM, a next level layer 1 EVM blockchain. Really important to understand that. If you missed the space, here's what stood out. Vivo's Power's $100 million XRP deployment is just the beginning. What was it about? Vivo Power, a NASDAQ listed company, is allocated $100 million in XRP on Flare to generate yield. Why it matters. This isn't a one-off. Flare CEO Hugo Filion described it as a strong starting point, not the ceiling, emphasizing that institutional demand is only getting started, which is what we talked about on our live stream a couple of days ago. If you want to check that live stream out. Yield is the lifeblood of finance. And XRP has had a risk-free rate of 0 until now. That was a quote from Hugo and Thanos. Takeaway, institutions are treating XRP as productive capital for the first time. And like I said, they've been clamoring for this, thanks to Flare's yields infrastructure. Exchange demand for XRP staking could mirror Flare's token rollout. In this call, in this community call, Hugo gave an example of exchanges once they kind of noticed the rollout of the airdrop to XRP holders and the demand from XRP holders to the individual exchanges about, are you going to do this, et cetera, et cetera. More and more exchanges. It started like a snowball. And he's expecting the same thing is going to happen with exchanges for this XRP staking option. So it's important really to know that, right? So what Hugo observed, Flare's token adoption began with small exchanges. As user interest grew, larger platforms followed. And how does that apply to XRPFi? That's the key. A similar pattern may emerge. Platforms like Uphold are already preparing to offer opt-in XRP staking via Firelight. By the way, Firelight, words out on the street, first 1,000 people are going to want to get in this thing early to benefit from what they're going to be doing. So, make sure you're paying attention to what Firelight has going on. So a similar pattern may emerge. Platforms like Uphold are already preparing to offer opt-in XRP staking via Firelight. User demand may drive broader exchange integration. The takeaway, retail-friendly platforms, retail, are entering the fold. Institutional grade yield may soon become default exchange infrastructure. Those of us who love DeFi, we would prefer a lot of these decentralized things for sure. But we all know if we chart our own start into the digital asset space, it started through Coinbase. A lot of us were here for the Binance US and, Binance, we could use it. It kind of starts there in those exchanges, right? And then some of us eventually just move and we like to do the vast majority of what we do with decentralized exchanges. But it starts with these centralized exchanges, right? So retail-friendly platforms are entering the fold. Institutional grade yield may soon become the default exchange infrastructure. That's just really, really powerful. Firelight equals high quality yield. And by the way, it's not just staking. Check out that call. Remind me to put the link in the description. If I don't do it in the comments, let me know for that community call. You can find it on Flare Networks on X as well. Firelight is not just staking. They're gonna provide a suite of products or things of utility that you can do, and that these institutions can do. A lot of TradFi stuff, I'm sure. Firelight equals high quality yield. Most yield platforms depend on centralized services or unsustainable emissions. As Thanos explained, Firelight is built differently. It avoids of inflation and subsidies, instead delivering revenue-backed, risk-adjusted strategies from day one, supported by institutional-grade infrastructure and security. So takeaway, Firelight is here to bring sustainable and on-chain yield to XRP holders. SparkDEX is evolving into a DeFi power layer. Yeah, I've been a big fan of SparkDEX for sure. They got IDO coming up in a few days as well for their Spark token. What's coming soon? Oh, I think I spoke too soon here. What's coming soon? Since launch, SparkDEX has processed over $4 billion in trading volume. But it's not just the DEX. It's becoming a composable DeFi layer on Flare. Upcoming features include V4 DEX, V4-like DEX with hook functionality. And I say like, I mean, they kind of, they did the V4 Uniswap's V4 and kind of tweaked it to their own, right? So V4 DEX with hook functionality, which is, it's important to know how important that hook functionality is. You listen to the call, SparkDEX gave an example of what a project might be able to do with that type of functionality. Again, I liken SparkDEX growth and ascension in this space very, very similar to Jupiter Exchange. Jupiter Exchange, doing their own thing, doing some novel things on a next level layer one blockchain. Solana, SparkDEX, doing a lot of the same kind of things, novel features, novel ideas on a next level layer one blockchain. That's Flare Networks, right? So anyway, Launchpad's coming. They're going to call it SparkPad. Strategy hub for one-click yield generation for XRP, for FXRP. That's going to be a big one, for sure. I kind of see it taking some qualities and features from VFAT. If you're familiar with VFAT on base, I'm sure this is what this is going to look like for the strategy hub on SparkDEX. So this strategy hub will be a one-click yield generation for FXRP, ETH, and stablecoins. Hands-off vaults with optional insurance. Nice. There's going to be people going to be interested in that. People ain't, some people ain't going to be, some people ain't going to want to, learn LP and want to deal with impermanent loss and all these kind of things. I get it. They're going to offer them some options. Hands-off vaults with optional insurance. Okay. There's insurance on other platforms out there in DeFi, if you look around. Longer term, central limit order book DEX. That's not in the immediate future. That's a long term deal. And Spark token value proposition. What that means, these features directly support the goal of making XRP productive in a compliant DeFi environment, not just through simple LPing, but through fully composable, capital efficient DeFi mechanisms. If assets expansions beyond XRP is considering right now, it is not XLM, although Hugo in the spaces or in the community call made us aware that a lot of institutions have interest in XLM. It's almost at the same level as they did with XRP. But and Cardano as well. From Thanos mentioned Cardano, and obviously Doge. What was said? XRP is just the beginning. There's growing interest, including institutional, in bringing other underutilized assets onto Flare. Examples under discussion again, Solana, Cardano, and Doge. Why Flare is ready? It's native protocols enshrined, native to the blockchain. F assets and DeFi primitives like Firelight, SparkDEX are scalable. Flare's architecture is designed to unlock yield for all idle assets, not just XRP. So what starts with XRP doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. So there it is, fam. I wanted to kind of bring that to you. It's a nice kind of overview from Flare. We've done a live stream about this community call as well. If you want to check out that live stream, it's a longer one. But I wanted to kind of share this recap from Flare Networks on what they thought about the community call as well. I appreciate you guys checking in. All right, fam. That's your XRP Ripple Daily News in around 0 to 10 minutes. I hope that it has been of value to you. If it has, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you happen to be in that 55% or so of people that are hanging out, listening to, and watching the Crypto Siege, do me a favor. If you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.